Hey, Will King here, and today on the Build Show, we're back in the studio again, and I'm going to be talking about how to finance investment properties as a builder, or really just as an investor. It doesn't matter if you're a builder or not, and how to look at different options and how to decide the best way for you. And I'm going to be talking about how I've done it and how that's been successful for me. So, to start with, I think you really have to identify what your goals are as a landlord or as a real estate investor. But let's start very simple first with let's just say a single family house. So I'm a big believer in having investment properties. It's something that we've been doing even before I was a builder. We were accumulating rental property, and I feel like as a builder, it's really given me the ability to expedite that and make that grow faster than ever and give me more resources to make that grow. So when I look at a single family house, or any even commercial property for that matter, I want to make sure that you understand what the BRRRR method is. And by BRRRR, it's BRRRR. It's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. Now, I didn't come up with this. That's something that I learned from the Bigger Pockets podcast many years ago. Those guys really made that acronym famous, and it's something that they've talked about and explained in very immense detail on how to do it. And I will encourage you, if you're watching this video, go check out their podcast. Those guys take deep dives daily into all kinds of real estate investments, and they're way, way, way smarter than me at this. But I will say I have learned a lot from them. I've gotten confidence in real estate by listening to their podcast. But the idea behind this is that you're going to buy a piece of real estate in cash or some form of liquid money, like a line of credit. You're going to buy it. You're going to rehab it the same way. So you're going to renovate this house. Then after you have it completed, you're going to rent the property out. So then you have a positive cash flow every month. Then you refi it. So then you go to the bank and you say, okay, I want to do a cash out refinance deal. They give you the money back based off the appraisal, which is important. And then the goal is that you get all of your cash back. Then you have the property financed and somebody else is paying the bill. Now that's the BRRRR Method 101, 1,000-foot level looking down. But the problem comes in with how do you buy it? How do you rehab it with cash or with liquid money? And what's the best options to do that when you're trying to start your portfolio or grow your portfolio? And this is where being a contractor is a benefit to be able to finance deals like this. So let me start with the idea that as a builder or contractor, business owner, it's very important to be cash positive. I'm a believer in making sure that you have all your accounts in your company on net 30s, if at all possible. I've done videos before on credit cards where, we have a net 30 account, and then at the end of the 30 days, we put it on our credit card to make sure that we can get the points with the credit card. And all the while, we have the cash in our account longer. We're holding on to it longer prior to having to pay that out for the lumber package, for example. It's also a good idea as a business owner to save money inside the company and create a savings account to be able to use it for whatever you need to. You have to figure out how you're going to have a line of credit at a financial institution and what that looks like. So I'm a big fan of line of credits at a bank because when I want to go buy a lot or buy a house that needs rehabbed, I don't have to apply for a construction loan and go through the process of that. I don't have to pay the origination fee of that construction loan or any other fees associated with it, including an appraisal. Simply with a line of credit, I can just write a check out of that line of credit account and buy that property. So immediately I've saved time and I've saved fees from the bank. So I'm a big believer in line of credit. And I would encourage you, if you're going to start down the path of real estate, you want to make sure that you can talk to your local bank, maybe where you're banking for your construction company, and get that line of credit established. That's going to be a lot faster and cheaper for you, especially if you're going to do multiple deals. Okay, another way to look at this too is if you have a property that costs more than you're able to buy with in cash or with a line of credit, it's still very possible to go to a commercial lender at a bank and get get a loan to buy that property on the front end. They're going to give you 80% loan to value or LTV for the purchase of that property. So let's say that you went and bought a $300,000 property and the bank financed it to start with for you. Okay, and of that $300,000, they're going to give you 80% loan to value. So they're going to finance $240,000 of that deal for you to start with. So that means the other $60K, you're having to use cash, you're having to use line of credit, savings, whatever that is for you. Then you have the option to renovate that with more line of credit or cash that you have. And then once it's completed and you have it rented, then you can go back and refi it too. So even if you can't pay cash for a property on the front end or using your line of credit, you can still go to the bank, ask for a commercial loan, and they will work with you on these properties. And you can finance it on the purchase, renovate it in cash, and still do your refi at the end and hopefully get all of your cash back. Or you want to minimize the cash that you have in these properties. All right, so let's talk real fast about appraisals. So if you're looking at a residential property or single family property like we all live in for the most part, they're going to appraise those based off of a sales comparison approach. So an appraiser is going to simply come out, measure your house, inspect the house, take photos, look at the quality, look at all the upgrades that have been done, and then they're going to compare that to other houses in your neighborhood or close by. And then that's how they're going to come to a value, which is called a sales comparison approach. And that's what they're going to give you. So quick tip is look on Zillow, look for sold properties on Zillow, and then find houses similar age to yours, similar condition to yours, and then figure out what those houses sold for per square foot, and then use that number for what yours is going to be or is. And then that will tell you a little insight of what your property could appraise for if you're talking about a single family house. Now, obviously, you're going to have to work with an appraiser, and you may can even hire one before you even get to the point you have to refi to help you figure out what that value could be. Now, when you get into the commercial world, the appraisals are different, or they can be different. Let me say that. So sales comparison approach still exists. So they're going to look at a commercial property and they're going to say, okay, well, this office building down the street sold last year for X dollars. It was similar in shape or similar in size, similar in condition, and they may give you adjustments up or down accordingly. So they have the sales comparison approach. The next approach they use is an income approach, and that's where things get good as an investor in real estate. Because if you construct or produce a property that is a very cash positive or high income producing property based off the income, then they're going to use the income approach as well as a sales comparison approach to come up with a value. So if you're looking at things like, I know, listening to Bigger Pockets, there's been apartment complexes that have changed things like who's paying the water bill. I know it's something as simple as that. If you have lots of units inside your complex and you put the water meter bill or the water bill back onto the consumer and not you, then you just increased your revenue and your income, which means you really just increased the value of your property. So that can make a difference on an appraisal. Now, there's another approach called a cost approach, and they look at data to figure out what that building would cost new, and then they depreciate it out and come to a value. And then as a commercial appraiser, they look at all three of those values and they triangulate them to one so said value, and that's what they're going to give back to the bank. Now, that's a really big conversation and a really big topic. I am not an appraiser, but I would encourage you, talk to your banker, your lender, and find an appraiser in your market and go talk to them. understand how they look at properties, understand how they would look at your specific property, maybe even ask them to be a consultant for you or do an appraisal outside the bank for you just to see if the deal you're trying to buy makes sense or it will make sense once it's rehabbed. All right, so I hope you learned a little bit today about how to finance investment properties. We talked about a lot of things like the BRRRR method and what that really looks like as an investor. We talked about staying cash positive and being able to use that to help fund the purchase and rehab of these properties prior to refinancing them. And we also talked about the importance of line of credits versus just using construction loans over and over again if you're going to do multiple properties. But guys, if you're not following me on Instagram, please go do so. It's at Will King Builds. And just remember, iron sharpens iron, so keep grinding, keep watching these videos, and we'll see you right here on The Build Show.